Women have been around since the creation of our species. Yet somehow, in 2025, gamers are in an uproar when there is a woman main protagonist in their games. People are mad that women in their games aren't in full glam makeup with their bahanga wanga zongas out 24/7. People are upset because they cannot look up the skirt of a young girl in their games, so automatically it's woke. It's bad. Why would looking up a skirt be realistic? Is there something you have to admit? And you know, the last thing that we need is another man talking about this, right, ladies? Am I right? But I feel the need to call out my fellow dude bros because I'm tired. I'm tired of this, grandpa. I do have a similar video kind of like this covering anti-woke mods on my channel, but in this video we're going to be talking about two very weird reactions people had to these game releases, which feature women main characters. And I know I'm late to the party, okay? I've been partying it up, all right? Some of these guys remind me of that post where the guy's like, I've only talked to one woman and it's my grandma. You know what I'm talking about?
I've never met a female in my life, except my grandma. What? How? I live in a little mountain.
Cute.
But anyways, let's jump into this. Ow.
Hey, alright, sorry for the jump scare. I totally forgot to record a whole segment of the script, so here we go. Bear with me, this is the disclaimer. Bear with me, I'll speed it up. Disclaimer time. So, as always, I do my very best to research everything that I talk about, but if something is wrong or I miss something, please feel free to inform me down below. I more than appreciate being educated on topics. Also, I do want to make it clear you are absolutely more than welcome to have criticisms. You are more than welcome to dislike these games. You can even say that you hate them. As long as you have actual valid criticisms, saying that the game is bad because a woman is in it is not a valid reason for disliking something. Oh, that's just misogyny. So if you're going to say something like that in the comments, this is not the video for you. Obviously. I'm also not telling you how to feel in this video. It's up to you to do your own research and, you know, come to your own conclusion. Alright, sorry. Yep, out of the way.
Silent Hill F dropped in late September, and immediately people online were furious. But no, not about the gameplay, not about the story, but because you can't look up the skirt of the main protagonist, who according to her uniform is a high school aged girl. Yeah, that's the hill they chose to silently die on. See what I did there? Ain't I a wee bit clever, ain't I? Yes I am, yes I am. Alright. If you know nothing about the franchise or nothing about the game, don't worry, it's not important for this conversation, and no spoilers ahead or anything. Silent Hill F is a survival horror game, so it was pretty surprising when one of the biggest controversies was that the game was supposedly too woke. There's a group of people who began to boycott it because they couldn't get their little peek under a young girl's skirt. The main protagonist of the game, to be exact. This wasn't just one person either.
Silent Hill F is looking like it's going to be one of the most promising entries in the franchise, and some of you, all you care about is that you can't look up Hineko's skirt. This is why people don't take Grifter seriously, because it was never about wokeism in games. It's never been about masculinity in games. It's just about you being weird and wanting to look up a high schooler skirt in a video game that's being praised as one of the best entries in the franchise.
And I'm pretty sure that her age is actually unconfirmed. However, her character is in a Japanese high school uniform, making her, say it with me now, a child. At the very most, she could be 18, but regardless, it doesn't make the situation any better. If she was a full-grown adult, I would still not be okay with this. If you're looking for an adult game to satisfy your adult needs, there are plenty of games out there. You do not need to force a game or call a game bad because it does not cater to your adult fantasies. Or in this case, have these realistic features. Again, I want to make it very clear you can critique this game. Go for it. You do not have to like it. If you're a hater, that's totally fine. But hating on a game because you cannot look up a woman's skirt? No. A child's skirt?
Police, that's him right there.
That's not a criticism. Silent Hill as a franchise has included themes about womanhood, including feminine fears, bodily autonomy, forced motherhood, and the pressure to conform to really harsh beauty standards, often showcasing these themes through disturbing body horror. And I want to make it clear, again, that's not always the case. But it's definitely a heavy theme throughout some of the games and the spin-offs, including Silent Hill F. And to see people say this about a game that does handle some pretty heavy themes revolving around young women's struggles, it's pretty heartbreaking. People who are calling this game woke for talking about women's issues clearly have not played any other game in the franchise. They're just using the word woke to mask their misogyny. using it like a shield for the misogynistic takes. I just moved my hair with my perfect pronunciation. That was great. And you know, honestly, we can't have a whole conversation about the word woke. There was so much to say about it. I gotta move on. I gotta move on. I'm gonna bring this up to drive this point home. But almost half of the entire gamer population is women. Surprise. So yeah, it's not exactly shocking that some games might appeal to people who aren't you.
What? This can't be.
So you're telling me every game doesn't have a red-haired twink? Shocker. Women in the gaming space have existed since the space was created. And over time, with the breaking down of gender stereotypes, more women felt more comfortable exploring video games and being vocal about enjoying video games without fear of being ridiculed. And that number is only going to continue to grow. So obviously, there are going to be games catered to people who are different than you, people who have gone through different experiences. Not everything has to perfectly fit you. Even if they are just a small minority of people, they also deserve to be represented just as much, if not more. This game acknowledging people's struggles should be something that is celebrated, bringing attention to some lesser known issues. And you are more than welcome to debate if it's done well, obviously, but calling it woke for just representing it in the first place is a misuse of the word and really shows what kind of person you are. And again, I'm not talking to you, my viewer, my loyal, not you. I know you. You're you're too swag for any of this. I'm out of focus. You guys are too chill. You're too nonchalant, okay? I know you guys. Not you, but you. Yeah. Yeah. Right there, you, okay? I'm talking to you, weenie boy. There's also this one video on YouTube saying that the game is anti-marriage, which again, inform me if I'm wrong because I have not finished the game yet. I'm actively in the meat. It more seems to be against arranged marriage or the societal pressure on women to marry at such a young age, especially because I believe the setting is 1960s Japan. So those societal pressures and gender norms were pushed very, very hardly upon young women at the time to settle down, get married, and have children as quickly as possible. But regardless, it just seems like hate for this game is coming from a point of misunderstanding and people thinking it's a bad game because they can't relate to every single aspect, or goon, because not every game was made for everyone. There are plenty of games out there that I'm sure these people will enjoy, and plenty more being made right now that they will enjoy too. It's okay to have a few popular games represent other people that aren't you. And that moves us on to the Ghost of Yotei. Ghost of Yotei, which came out October 2nd, is a standalone sequel to the Ghost of Tsushima, which I haven't played personally because frankly, I am too dumb. I love games, but I'm really bad. But in this new game, Ghost of Yotei, unlike its previous predecessor, the main protagonist is a woman named Atsu. And oh boy, did people have a lot to say about that, which is crazy, guys.
Hello.
Considering the fact that this is absolutely nothing new. Women main protagonists have existed in games pretty much since their creation. Now, I will say they are definitely not as prominent as their male main protagonist counterpart, but they've always been there. My mic's backwards. And it feels like every few years when a game comes out with a woman male And it feels like every few years when a new game comes out with a woman main protagonist, we have this exact same conversation. It happens over and over again with the same exact storylines, people saying it's gone woke or that they can't relate, when that has never been a problem before. Again, I'm gonna make it very clear, if you have genuine criticisms about the game, totally valid, totally cool. Not every game is for everyone, and that's okay. But if you are saying that a game is automatically bad because it has a woman main character, your criticisms aren't valid. And looking at some of the comments being made about the game, genuinely make me sick. Like, I was looking through a few for this video and I had to close the tab. Like, it's shocking that some people really think this way. But to get into the nitty gritty on why some people do think this game is too woke, a big main reason for some of these people is because it is not realistic, saying that it doesn't make sense and it's impossible for a female warrior to do all these things. And I don't know if these people's heads are just empty in there, there's rattling around. But before I get into the nitty gritty, first off, who cares? It's fiction. It's a fictional game with a fictional story. If everything all the time had to be realistic, we wouldn't have superheroes. We wouldn't have fantasy films like Lord of the Rings. Because I'm going to tell you now, Dark Souls isn't realistic. Farthest from realism, actually. And oh so sadly, I cannot really kiss Brampton on his big, juicy teeth. And a lot of these people making these claims are skipping over really good research and storytelling that the developers put into the story. Okay, I'm coming back to this. Why do you think that women warriors were not recognized back then?
Most people who work in dangerous workplaces are men. Most people who fight in war are men.
And who set that system up?
Men.
These whole comments are just super misinformed. People saying that there's a 50-50 chance of the main character being a lesbian, which has never been confirmed. And even if it was, who cares, because it's not a part of the game. That has never been official information released by the game developers. Calling a game woke because there might be a slight chance that one of the characters might like a little bahangas is crazy. That's crazy. You sound crazy. And I have this whole section of the script written down where I break apart every little thing in this comment in particular, which I don't know if I'll actually do because, you know, I was a little bit heated in the moment, all right? Like, imagine my brain is like that episode of SpongeBob and they're all running around and things are on fire. Here's some information I found from a quick little Google that's debunking most of the statements that they made.
Did Japanese female warriors really exist like Ghost of Yotei depicts? Yes, oh my god, this is basic Japanese history, and apparently that has to be clarified because people don't know how to use the internet. Female warriors in pre-modern Japan were called onimusha, and they often came from samurai families, meaning yes, many onimusha were also samurai.
And I'm going to throw this comment in here as well, just because it has good information, but I also really like what it says at the end. I'd say just to make the kind of character you want, not what history dictates you should have, which I couldn't agree more with. This comment here is also particularly heartbreaking to see. It's really sad seeing people wanting these negative, harmful things reinstated in fictional media. It reminds me when people were getting upset with the fact that there were people of color walking around freely, being kings and queens and lords and ladies in Bridgerton, a Netflix show set in the 19th century of London. Like, are you the killer of joy and happiness? If you want to see history so bad, go watch a documentary. Go to a museum, or I'm sure that there are plenty of historically accurate games out there for you to enjoy that showcase the horrible hardships that minorities had to go through. Since you want to see them going through those hardships so badly. I love learning about history, as much as the next guy, I'm sure. So I do understand that drive for wanting to see accuracy. I would love to have a whole game where I play as a little French boy. I want like Assassin's Creed Unity, but just when I play as a little boy running around his family's estate. If anyone knows a game like that, let me know. Like, I don't want any fighting. I just want to run around, you know, get ready for the ball or the gala or whatever. Practice my piano. Okay. But you know, I do not get my history lessons from fictional fantasy worlds. People are more than allowed to see themselves represented respectfully and fairly in newer media. Not to mention, this is supposed to be fun for people to participate in things. Saying that people cannot participate in something because 100 years ago they would not have been allowed to because of the color of their skin or their gender is insane and does not make sense at all, because this is fantasy. Not to mention, a lot of people, not all, but a lot of people claiming that the Ghost of Yotei is not accurate are not Japanese. This is not even their history, their culture that they're complaining about. Because, you know, if they did some actual research, they would have found out that there were women engaging in combat, especially in pre-modern Japan, in desperate times. Were they exactly like the Ghost of Yotei? Probably not. Here are some statistics of burials of people who engaged in combat. So yes, they probably weren't exactly as prominent as male warriors, but they were there throughout history. I also do think that some of these people commenting need to do some research on the word samurai before they start saying stuff. I don't know. Anyways, so yeah, women have fought in wars, but even if they didn't, it still wouldn't matter because this is a fictional game. It's a video game telling a fantasy story. Next point is people being quite upset that they cannot relate to the main character for the sole fact that she is a woman. And I found this really amazing TikTok video by a creator. I'm going to link them obviously, but I think what they have to say is really good. So here you go.
It's probably not that deep, but gamers who can't relate to female main characters might be in denial about an as yet unpacked part of their identity. Think about what they've related to in games. A blue hedgehog running at supersonic speeds, a talking purple dragon, a car in Rocket League, a little cube in Thomas Was Alone, an anthropomorphic bandicoot, actual monsters and demons, geometric shapes with no dialogue that made them cry. They feel deep emotional connection to all of these non-human entities. They understood their struggles. They were invested in their journeys. They empathized with a rectangle. But a human woman? Oh god, can't relate. Immersion is broken. The game is woke. so they can identify with non-human species across the entire animal kingdom and beyond, but not with 50% of their own species? Interesting. Oh, but when she looks like 2B or Eve, suddenly they can relate. And if they're relating to what's been presented as femininity in these characters, because surely they're not paying $60 just to look at pixels on a screen, then there might be something worth exploring there. Anger is a perfectly valid response to being forced to play as something you can't identify with. I get it. Maybe it's worth unpacking why rectangles feel more relatable than human women. Might be something there worth examining.
Like in a game that I really enjoyed, Stray, the main character is a cat. Like an actual cat, they don't talk or anything. Yet I had a wonderful time playing the game and even relating to the story. But I didn't see anyone complaining that the main character is a cat and they can't relate. So if these dude bros really want to play a game where they can relate exactly to the character, go play The Sims. I do definitely understand that there is something to people wanting to relate to a character, and they want to experience a game where they feel like they are the main dude. And to that I say there are plenty of role-playing games out there where you can create your own main character to be perfectly just like you and make your own story. However, bashing a game because you personally cannot relate is odd. This game is not meant for players to have a role-playing experience. It's meant to tell a story. And of course, I'm gonna address this even though I kind of did in another video of mine. People are also upset that the main character isn't sexy enough. And to that, again, I say, go play a different game, because obviously you are wanting something out of this game that it is not meant for. There are plenty of games out there where they do have women main protagonists with giant bahanga wanga zangalangas out in the open, and that's fine. Go enjoy those. But it's also so important to remember that this character is modeled off a real person. They aren't making the character ugly. This is just what people look like. Hate to break it to you guys, but this same conversation has been done with so many games over the years, including games like The Last of Us and Horizons, and probably many, many more that I just can't think of right now. But women are allowed to exist just as humans. They're also allowed to be all glammed up with their bawanga wangas out. Not one way is right, and not one way is better than the other. However, attacking a game, calling it woke and bad because the woman main character doesn't have that no filter slim on 24/7 isn't a valid criticism. It just shows who you are and that you don't have a very good perception of women as a whole. But it is so incredibly harmful that people are pushing this idea that women have to be sexy for you 24/7. Regardless though, I have not played the game myself. I've only seen some gameplay, so I'm sure there are plenty of valid criticisms to have about the game, and there's probably tons of reasons why someone would not like this game. So I am really interested in hearing your thoughts and opinions. So in conclusion, sadly, I do think that this issue is going to persist for a very, very long time, unless there's some kind of huge mindset change within the gamer community. This has been happening so much in the gaming industry with almost every new game that comes out that has a mention of a person of color, a woman, or a queer character. If it's not a white male, most of the time, a lot of people will have some sort of issue. People calling it woke to hide their racism, misogyny, and homophobia. Even though I know these people will not listen to me, but to these men who are claiming to deal with loneliness or feeling outnumbered in their space, if you want to leave your loneliness, I ask you, please educate yourself. Learn about other people. Learn about other people's struggles, other people's lives that are different from your own. I guarantee you in doing so, you will find community. And you will be able to dig yourself out of that hole as long as you are open, humble, and kind. But sadly, a lot of men just like to wallow in their loneliness and wallow in their anger. So I'm not quite sure if someone like me would ever get through to them. It's probably stuff that's been instilled since their very creation. But as difficult as it is, the way to dig yourself out of this hole is to start with yourself. Make a personal change. You can't expect other people to come and dig you out without sticking your hand up out of the ground first. But anyways, thank you guys so much for sticking with me and listening to my rant. Please let me know all your thoughts and opinions down below. And I do apologize. Again, this video is kind of all over the place. I do have another video I'm cooking up very, very soon. I apologize for the wait. I was on vacation. But also, if you're a fan of the games mentioned here and you know more about it than I do, if you want an info dump, you're more than welcome to do so. That looks like a thumbs down. No, I'm just pointing you to the comments. Please feel free to do so and inform me if these are some of your favorite topics. But I appreciate you guys sticking with me through my lack of posting. Again, I promise I have good things cooking. I have another alternative fashion related video coming out next week. Let's see. I've been like beating myself up because I wasn't able to get something out while I was on my week of vacation. So I'm going to try and make up for it. Fingers crossed. Also, a huge shout out to my Patreons. Look, guys, I have 2 now. And another huge shout out to my awesome, amazing, wonderful YouTube members. It is so awesome that you guys think I'm cool enough to give me a little bit of a sweet treat, a little bit of an exciting bit of cash to buy me something a little sweet. And of course, if you're just subscribed, I appreciate you guys so much as well. You're just as special to me. But unfortunately, that is all of the yapping I have for today. Hopefully all of my points in this video came across clearly. In my anti-woke mod ones, some of my points did get muddled because I just didn't do a good job of explaining things clearly. Sometimes it's hard for me to get information in my brain out of my mouth clearly, but you know, hopefully I did better in this one. But same time next week, for real this time.